Good morning. My name is Ritu Saheb. We are architects. I run an architectural business. We are located in Midtown Manhattan in New York City, which is where I'm speaking from at this time. And we are experts in renovation and restoration of old buildings. These buildings are usually 100 to 120 years old, located in Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens. I am very sorry to hear about the Florida condo collapse and the innocent souls missing. I think science has the answers. Unfortunately, misapplication or grave disregard of the science in regards compounded with human error or because of human error led to this unfortunate tragedy. We prepare reports such as these. I have reviewed a 2018 report, and let me tell you, this is based on what is available online and various articles and information that I have sought out so far. I have not seen the construction documents which recommend the repairs for the Champlain Towers, which were underway when the collapse occurred. But to me, it seemed the report was a standard CYA report. Anyone in the industry would be very familiar with this terminology. It was to avoid liability. It was cover your ass. I grew up in poured concrete foundation buildings in the city of Mumbai, the buildings that were built on the coastal swamps, very much like the Florida building. I trained in such buildings. I currently live in a poured concrete building in Manhattan on the bed of a river. It is not corrosive like the Florida environment, but it is a poured reinforced concrete building. So I would like to comment on what I find lacking in what led to the collapse or how the collapse could have been averted. Irrespective of what the cause of the collapse was, which is what we seem to be focusing on, and yes, we should find the answers of that. Of course, the cause could be design related. The columns, the beams were not designed properly. The building could not carry the load. It could be design, flaw in design of the material. The concrete mix was not designed properly, and over the years, it could not carry the load. It could be construction related, as in whatever the design was set down was not followed properly by the contractors. Certain bolts were left out, certain rebars were left out. It could be a maintenance issue, as in the building was allowed to deteriorate and the upkeep was not happening. Or it could be the new factor, which we've been talking about, that the ground moved. Irrespective of what the cause was, buildings do not collapse instantaneously unless there's an earthquake or a hurricane. There are usually signs way before time which existed in this building as well. And the owners acted responsibly and promptly, and they called an engineer to determine why the cracks existed. So the engineer's job was to follow the standard procedure, which was to monitor the crack, make sure the cracks do not widen over time, make sure the number of cracks does not increase over time. That's just standard, which is done in the industry all the time. His job was to determine the cause of these cracks. So obviously these cracks were occurring because of the balance of forces. The building was not designed for the forces which it ended up taking, which is why it didn't remain standing, but collapsed. So his job was to determine what forces will cause the cracking. Instead, what I read in the report was the Band-Aid treatment, meaning the epoxy fillers in the cracks have not worked so far, so we should do X, Y, and Z. It's still a Band-Aid treatment. Or cosmetic treatments. The windows and doors have rotted. Please, let's change them. Let's seal the cracks. Let's do the waterproofing. These are all cosmetic repairs. Yes, they will prevent infiltration of water going forward and prevent deterioration for the deterioration of building. However, it does not ask the question, what was the cause of these cracks? And I think that was a question that should have been asked. So in my case, and we do err on the side of caution whenever there are structural issues involved, because that is the basic building block of a building, of a structure. If a building, the structure is weak, the building is not going to stand. No matter any amount of cosmetic repairs you undertake will not fix the building. And many times we do err on the side of caution. We make recommendations which the owners are completely unhappy with because they think they are an overkill. But in such a case where there was a reason, I think they should have said, we recommend further exploration be done in the cause of these cracks, and I suggest they should have recommended a timeline. The timeline could have been temporary and more long-term. Long-term timeline was defined because logistics takes time. To pull together $12 million to do the repairs, which they ended up doing, does take time. But the temporary measures were lacking, which is we recommend the building be instantly shored so that this tragedy would have not occurred. This is an evolving situation. I am monitoring various documents and writings available online for such a situation. And if anything changes, my opinion changes, I will be happy to update my dear friends and the industry. The AEC, the architecture, engineering, and construction community is watching this sad situation unfold in Florida. And I'm sure there will be a lot of changes which will occur to prevent such tragedies in the future. Thank you.